Hello everyone and welcome back to the Prado Museum for another of our weekly sessions in English with the American Friends of the Prado Museum. Today we're going to see a beautiful painting, and I think a very unique painting that might sometimes get a little bit overlooked in this collection. We're going to be looking at this Pompeian scene, also called the Siesta by Alma Tadema. And I say it's a unique painting because this is the only painting that we have by Alma Tadema in the collection. It's one of the few 19th century paintings that we have of a foreign artist. And if we look around, this is actually the only painting that we have here in the middle of a gallery of classical sculpture. Alma Tadema was a Dutch-born painter, although he carried out most of his artistic career in England. And there he gained international fame for his romantic depictions of everyday life in Greece and Rome. So the Greco-Roman world was very influential for his art and architecture from ancient Greece and Rome. So in this painting, what are we looking at? We have this quiet, introspective moment, a sensual, beautiful depiction of a scene from this Greco-Roman world. And around the same time, Alma Tadema was working on one of his most famous paintings, called Phidias, showing the friezes of the Elgin marbles to his friends in 1868. And despite some of the common themes and the time of production, these two paintings have very different histories. And so we're also going to think a little bit about how this painting got into the Prado's collection. So we see these two men, and they're lying down and they're resting in this peaceful moment. And their difference in age brings to mind these relationships in ancient Greece that were common between Aromanes and Erastes, these names for partners and romantic relationships that were common in ancient Greece between two men, normally one older and one younger. And they had this element of instruction from an elder and the initiation of a younger man. So painting this as a classical subject might be one way of depicting this kind of romantic theme that otherwise would probably not have been very well accepted in society at the time. And we have this very sensual atmosphere. We can see all of these references to the different senses, to scent, to sound, to taste. We can see the flowers. We can imagine the smell of the flowers. We have these cups, which are also called rhytons. These cups with the decoration of the animals on them, these zoomorphic cups. And these were actually copied by Alma Tadema during his visit to Pompeii. He saw these in the National Archaeological Museum in Naples. And then we see that the woman is playing music. There's a young woman who's present. She's playing an ancient wind instrument called an aulos. Now, these are all objects that came from different periods in ancient Greece. But this really wouldn't have been a concern for Alma Tadema, the historical accuracy of the different times that these objects came from. At the time in London, this aestheticist movement was growing in importance, and the beauty of individual objects was far more important than their chronological or their academic exactness. And then in the center of the painting, of course, we have this classical figure, which is Aphrodite. And it's not just the objects that he included that refer to the classical world, but also the scale of this painting, the size of it. It's a really large painting, and the figures are monumental. They seem larger than life. They seem like they're just about to jump off of the canvas here. And it's so horizontal that it reminds us of a classical frieze. So it's not just the subject, but also the content, not just the content, but also the form in that he's decided to depict this image that reminds us of ancient Greece and Rome through and through. So Alma Tadema had this wonderful ability of capturing these moments of what seems like everyday life from ancient Greece and Rome in a way that seems very realistic, but also somewhat dreamlike. And this made him a sensation in the market in London at the end of the 19th century. And part of the success that he had on the market was because of his art dealer, who was Ernest Gambart. Gambart was really responsible for introducing Alma Tadema into the London market, and he was also the source behind a lot of grand decorative projects of paintings in well-to-do households. And this painting, the Siesta, was part of one of these plans. It was something that Gambart envisioned that would be a larger series of paintings that, and so this painter would hopefully capture the attention of one of these wealthy clients who would then pay for the rest of the commission for the paintings and to decorate his home. But the painting was, or the project was never carried out, and Gambart ended up keeping this painting in his own collection. Gambart was also the consul for Spain in Nice. And so his home in Nice, you can imagine, was a place for a lot of diplomatic relations and also a lot of art dealings and also a lot of social life. And eventually rumors spread about Gambart's lifestyle, and this caused a scandal in newspapers, a scandal in France, in his native Belgium, and also in Spain. And it became so intense that he eventually voluntarily left his position. But eventually he was reinstated. And as a gesture of goodwill, Gambart decided to gift this painting to the King of Spain, with the intent that it would form part of the Prado's collection. So thanks to Gambart, we have this unique painting in the collection, and that's not the only painting that he donated, because we also have a wonderful painting by Rosa Bonheur called El Cid, a painting of a lion by Rosa Bonheur, that's also thanks to a donation by Gambart. So that's why we have this wonderfully unique painting here, a beautiful painting, and thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you again next Wednesday.